the nebula of dreams and lore. Uncle Chunk's got tales galore. With the mighty beard, a hammer strong. Pop culture legends where we belong. Chunkcast roars like a cosmic storm. Movies, comics, games, we transform. Uncle Chunk leads the way.
By the might of Mjolnir, I am king of this realm, Uncle Chunt. I hope you've all been great ones. To you and yours, thank you for including me in your day. Here we are for the next episode of the Chunkcast. Excellent. Thank you for joining me. As I just said, got a few things I want to talk about this evening / this afternoon / this morning, whenever you are viewing this or listening to this. I've just visited the theatre and have watched Captain America: Brave New World. So I want to just give my thoughts on that one. And I'm sure some of you have heard some of the discourse online, but it is what it is. So I have my own thoughts on this film. Also, the PlayStation State of Play. I just want to discuss which stood out to me. Kind of excited about some of those, so we'll get stuck into that. And then first off, we've got an Ask Chunt. Of course, if you want to submit your own questions, just feel free to tag me on socials at Uncle Chunt with hashtag Ask Chunt, and just put your question in there, and I'll store it for future iterations of this episode, and you might see your question on the show. Excellent. Cool. So yeah, just to recap, this week, been up to quite a bit, getting into some Beyblades. Probably some of you are like, what the hell, Beyblades? Like, why? Well, not going to lie, back when they were a thing when I was growing up, I quite enjoyed it. My friends and I, we played what we could. We were of that crowd that couldn't really afford anything. So we were lucky that we got one at all. And some of us were using, some bootleg ones just to play over at each other's places, at each other's homes, or, at school or whatever. And it was just fun. And it hasn't gone anywhere. It's still around as a thing. And I've just been looking at things to do around this city, and something my wife and I can do. And my wife and I play it sometimes at home together. We've got stadiums and Beyblades and stuff like that from the Burst line and Quad Drive and all that. And it is quite fun. My wife got right into it as well because we play Dungeons and Dragons together. And I'm just thinking, what else could we do around the city just to get us out and do things and meet people and just socialize. Because we don't have much time during the week. And I've come to discover that Brisbane has a bit of a Beyblade scene, and there's multiple events happening every fortnight, every month. And it blew me away. I was like, you know what? Yeah, I'll get into that. Give me an excuse to pick up some of the latest ones and get out there and have a bit of fun. So yeah, I didn't expect that. That was kind of out of left of field. But yeah, I just thought about it as we were coming home from D&D the other day, this weekend, yesterday actually. And why the hell not? It's quite fun. It's underestimated. I think a lot of people just hear about it and they think it's like, I'm not going to lie, it is a kid's game. It is for kids. But you'd be surprised the amount of grown-ups that I've been introduced to that like Beyblades. And there's this big Discord community for Australia that I've just been introduced to. And there's many adults in there like myself or older that enjoy this thing, and it's kind of cool. Like all the nerds, like all my generation, we've all grown up, and I know my previous generation was the same, but it's just cool to see, my generation still kicking the nerd stuff, and reliving some of it and enjoying the hobbies. So yeah, let me know if you've played Beyblades or if you do, and if you are around Brisbane, who knows, I might see you at a tournament or something. I'm just dipping my toes back in it. I'm just picking up a few new Beyblade X bays, and I'm going to look around for a stadium and just get to playing at home for a bit before I go to a tournament. There's an 18 plus bar. Excuse me. There's an 18 plus bar called Netherworld, I believe, and they have monthly tournaments and events there, which I had no idea about. I've known about this place for a while, like since I got to Brisbane. Excuse me, but I've had no idea that they did that. So I'm actually quite excited just to get into it. I'm not going to go lose my stuff and just, you know, spend oodles of money and whatever. But it's just cool just to get something, go out and have a bit of fun. It's a bit different than axe throwing, which is what I used to do, which is a bit more expensive. But I might get back to that as well one day. Anyway, just throwing that nugget in there. Something kind of cool. I mentioned Omnis and comic books last week, so I figured I'd just mention Beyblades this week as it's developments happened this week. Excuse my voice. I'm losing my voice this week. There's a lot of talking going on at work. So just bear with me for this episode. And also thanks for everybody that tuned into the last episode. Really appreciate it. I honestly did not expect anyone or many at all to tune in at all or realize that I've uploaded something after quite a while being away. So those of you who did turn up and say good day or send me a DM, thank you. And I think breaking it up into sections as well afterwards really helped. The Captain Planet segment got the most views out of everything, and it's still going. So that's awesome. I've posted it to TikTok and some excerpts and stuff like that as well, to reels and all that kind of stuff. So it's been fun, like getting that content churn going. So thank you again. I'll be doing the same for this one. This long form will go up, and then I'll edit out the sections into their own. Bit of a shorter episode this week, only a few topics. The last one ran a bit over time because I wanted to say a lot. But I've got a few topics here. Might be a bit snappier this one. And let's just get right into it, shall we, with Ask Chant. Let's do it.
Last chance, break through the night, seek the true power and might.
Yes, still epic. I appreciate that theme song indeed. So Ask Chant. This comes from Ramanajar. I hope I said that correct and haven't butchered it completely. So with so much hype just dead for the MCU, where do you think the movies could go from here? Will it ever reach the highs again? Okay. I put this question in here because I was going to talk about Captain America, Brave New World. So just it lined up. So that's why. So good timing, man. I had that one there for a while, then it's now finally circled around to it. So thank you kindly as my fire alarm beeps in the background. So, okay, where do I think it's going to go? So if we look at what the MCU's done so far, they've essentially condensed the most popular storylines in Marvel comic books into 10 years instead of over 60 or however many years it was at that time. They've tackled Infinity Gauntlet, which is the biggest one that people know of. There's Secret Invasion that's in there. I don't think they've done Siege yet. There's still War of the Realms that they could do. There's a bunch of... they've done Age of Ultron. I know there's a lot of Avengers stories that they could do that's happened over the years. Like I mentioned last week, the George Perez and Kurt Busiek. Oh my God, I can never say that name correctly. Like that run has a lot in there with Kang and Wonder Man, all that kind of stuff, which I think they might be getting into soon in the MCU. And obviously, Secret Wars, like that's coming. All right, so all of this is happening. But I say that, but there's still a lot of material from X-Men, Fantastic Four, Doctor Doom, right? All of that that they can delve into. That's cosmic spanning as well, just like Avengers is like they've done that, right? There's the Annihilation Wave, the Annihilation and Conquest and all that stuff. War of Kings. Just the X-Men lore itself will keep the MCU going, or if it lives, it'll keep that going between Fantastic Four and X-Men for at least a good 10 years if they do it right. There are a lot of stories in there, like Onslaught, what's it, Age of Apocalypse, if they do that. Mutant Massacre, like just if you look at what they're doing with the X-Men 97 show, imagine if they did that, but on the big screen. I know they tried to already with the Fox X-Men movies, but they kind of butchered that, not going to lie. I mean, they've tried to do Dark Phoenix, I think, 3 times now. They've done Days of Future Past already. So there are still some key stories that they can pull from Marvel. Unfortunately, there's a lot of Spider-Man ones that they probably won't get to. for many reasons that most of us probably already know already, which is unfortunate. If they could really get something done with Spider-Man and own that would be amazing. I kind of like the Tom Holland movies. I think that they went too big too fast, and I know that's because they wanted him in the Avengers movies and they didn't know how much they'd get to use him or if they'd be able to continue using him because of all the deals and stuff like that, contracts falling through and whatnot. So they just said, let's just throw Spider-Man and everything while we've got him. But you've missed that whole opportunity to do what Spider-Man is, right? He's this street level essentially character, like friendly neighborhood Spider-Man. Like he's got his rogues gallery that's not always the end of the world all the time. You know, they've missed the whole run of the 90s that they can pull through from, and they butchered it with the Venom films, you know, Maximum Carnage. They can't really go back and do that anytime soon and do it properly. The Clone Saga, they'll probably never do, right? Brand New Day, let's hope they never do that. Or One More Day, whatever it is. Yeah, Brand New Day. Anyway, look, there is a lot. There's so much they can do with the MCU instead of pulling from characters that nobody cares about. How about they just go full hog? I mean, X-Men. I mean, you've got so much. I just said you've got a lot of X-Men lore that you can pull from and build that universe around. I've always thought as like the Marvel Comics, you've either got Spider-Man, Avengers, and X-Men as the big things that are going on in the MCU. You could read X-Men and not read another Marvel comic book and still have your own massive story, massive lore, you know, spanning events, world earth-shattering stuff, just in X-Men on its own, right? You don't need Captain America, Thor, and Iron Man and all that kind of stuff to carry the Marvel movies along, right? Ideally, it'd be great, but I don't think that's realistic. And we're seeing that coming full force now ever since Endgame. Well, you know, the MCU seemed very aimless ever since, and it's very noticeable. So anyway, like that's I think it'll reach some highs if they do it well. I mean, I think there's Secret Wars that's happening. So you got Doomsday and Secret Wars coming up. I mean, that's just going to be, if you know what Secret Wars is, from what I know of the Jonathan Hickman run from 2015, whenever it was, that was a cataclysm or a convergence of two worlds, two timelines, you know, two Earths, all that kind of stuff. And that's how you got Miles Morales into the mainline comics, 616 universe, and so forth and so on. So who knows, right? We're probably going to get a lot of Ultimate Universe stuff, Ultimate Comics. I mean, we already do in the MCU. There's a lot of Ultimate influence in there, but probably more so coming up, I would surmise. But just don't be surprised if they decided to just do a soft reboot on everything. I think some of that's been rumored anyway. But what are you going to do? Part of the reason, I mean, you have to admit, part of the reason they got Robert Downey Jr. to come back, even if it's not Iron Man, is just to kind of get some of that familiarity and hype back into the MCU. So anyway, we'll see what happens. Good question. I think if they do it right, they'll reach the highs again. Just to answer your last part of that question there. But I do think they've peaked. Endgame was peak. Like, I don't know how you get back there without building that fan base, building the audience, building that trust again. You know, like they did the first time with actually characters that they care about and that are treated well, because they're just not doing that and telling good stories, which a lot of the recent stuff isn't. It's all ancillary, it's all stretched out, it's all watered down, it's all thin, right? Whereas they could have condensed a lot of these projects into shorter movies or shorter stories and made it more impactful, right? Like they've done before, but because of streaming, everything's got to be 6 or 10 episodes or whatever, and there's a lot of filler in there. And anyway, that's a whole other discussion. But anyway, hopefully it answers your question and gives some insights into how I'm thinking about it. You know, I'm trying to be optimistic. I'd love to see, man, I'd love to go into another Avengers movie, or, you know, another Spider-Man or Iron Man or something, another Captain America movie, which I'll talk about this one coming up. You be that excited about, oh, what's next? Like, I can't wait to see what they're doing next, where they're taking this, right? And those big moments, right? I haven't felt that in a very long time in these Marvel movies or shows. So let's see. Let's see how they go. I will remain optimistic. Anyway, cool. Thank you for that. Really appreciate it. As I said before, if you would like to submit a question and have my thoughts on whatever that is, just tag me at Uncle Chunt on whatever social platform you're on, and hashtag AskChunt, and I'll keep a record, and I'll circle around to your question when I do. Awesome. All right. So that was a shorter. Last time I went on and on and on because it opened up a kettle of worms for me, can of worms, talking about all kinds of stuff. So that was a bit more of a shorter answer to your question there. So hopefully you appreciate it. Like I alluded to before, the Captain America angle, Brave New World, is what I'm going to talk about now. So let's get just right into it, shall we? Okie dokie. Oh boy. Yes. So this film, it certainly happened. Okay. So Anthony Mackie as Sam. God, I forgot his last name. That's terrible. I mean, that's how it just shows you how much I don't really care about this character, or the world that he's in. I know he was Captain America in the comics. It's not lost on me. I get it. I know that's a thing, and he has his fan base. He has his favorite and all that kind of stuff for some people. I get it. I will say, before I start going into the negatives, I will say that he was the only thing, or the only actor, I should say, the only actor on the screen that seemed like they gave a damn for being there. Like, he was given it what he could. He worked with what he had to work with. For those of you who've been keeping track of the production of this movie, it's not news that this movie's been through a lot of trouble. Reshoots. It just wasn't going well. Dailies weren't going well. Screen testing wasn't going well. So what are you going to do? This was going on in a time where political stuff, social political aspects were being pushed into everything, and this movie was having some of that enter its script and its production, and rumors have it that they went back to the well to reshoot what they could relatively the last minute in the scheme of things, to reshoot what they could to salvage this movie. And it shows. I'll say that. It really does show. There's a lot of awkward scenes of people who are talking to each other that are clearly not in the same room, where you have like the whole switching angles of people, where they could have been walking and talking to each other or interacting in the same room with each other as they're discussing or arguing or whatever, but it was just an obvious green screen, obvious I'm talking to a tennis ball, I'm reacting to something in front of me that I'm supposed to be talking to someone, and it just felt like you couldn't connect with it, which is disappointing. And you can tell that there's a certain villain. I'm not going to go into spoilers. There's a certain villain that they've reintroduced or revisited, I should say, in this movie, that you just said, what? Like, even I was like, what? Oh, okay. Like, all of a sudden, cool, I guess. But it seemed really shoehorned in. The introduction to the person, to this villain, there was no build up to it. They were just suddenly there in the shadow, but they were revealing enough that you could tell who it was if you've been watching these movies for the last 100 years and you're going deep into the well that, Marvel's 500 years into their MCU, and they're going all the way back, and just expect you to remember or recognize who this is, even though they don't look like that the last time you saw them. I just know because, I just know. And I recognize who it was because I recognize the actor, their voice, their profile, all that kind of stuff. I recognize who they were. and it just took me all the way back. I was like, okay, I already know who this is. I know where this is going, and it kind of went, okay, this is what they're doing. It's just how they implemented the character. It just felt really forced, and I believe that was part of the reshoots. If it wasn't, oh boy, this was bad from the beginning. Which is really disappointing. They had a lot to go on there. I think part of the problem is Sam, does he have his own villains that are noteworthy that have already been shared in the MCU so far, or could this movie have taken time out to build his own? This movie is all about this. Still, I thought they addressed this in the Falcon and the Winter Soldier series on Disney Plus, right? Where the whole series was him coming to terms with, is he worthy of the shield, worthy of the title, the mantle, all that kind of stuff. I thought they already did this, right? But this movie just retreads that same step. So I was like, oh, really, this again? Okay. Where at the start of the movie, they established him as being appreciated, being loved by people. He was on good terms with the military, and all this kind of, like, it was all kind of, hey, we've done this song and dance before. Hey, thanks, Cap. Like all this kind of stuff. Like he made it. Like he's done it. He's proven himself, right? And I thought already did that, but then this movie just went all over again. So I was like, okay, fine. But then it started to retread the same steps of Captain America, Winter Soldier, like the plot threads, plot points, moments of that movie almost to a T. Like the first whole intro of that movie is essentially that. It's a mix of Winter Soldier and Civil War. And I was like, okay, I've seen this before. Awesome. So we're getting yet another Sam Captain America series / movie story of him coming to terms with, is he good enough? Right? But we're just retreading plot points and plot threads and story beats of Steve Rogers, Captain America's time. Like it just felt like, okay, it's really on the nose. Right? You've got a character who's trying to come to terms with it, but he's going through the same steps and motions as his predecessor. I'm sure there's something poetic in there that they were trying to do, but it just didn't hit. It didn't land for me. There's some real slow points, where even I was sitting there going, oof, oh boy. Like I took my wife to see this on Valentine's Day. I mean, she loved it. She really enjoyed it. She thought it was good. But I was like, yeah, it had its issues, and we discussed on the way home. But like I can't not see it. Like I went in there going, you know what? I'm just going to enjoy this. I'm going to take my reviewer hat or critique hat off and just enjoy this with my wife. But yeah, I found myself sitting in the chair, just going, oh really? Oof, and like checking my watch a couple of times because it was just really slow moving and disappointing, quite disappointing. Also, there's some fight scenes that just felt not impactful whatsoever. Just I don't know what it is. The fight scenes were boring. I didn't feel any of it. There was maybe two parts. So I thought, yeah, that was cool. I won't point those out. You'll see them when they happen. But the rest of it was like, okay, all right. He's not a super soldier. I'm not buying this. He's just a dude, so I'm not buying it that he's taken out a whole room, defying physics and all that kind of stuff. And he's not a super soldier. They even say that a number of times in the film, reminding him that he's not a super soldier, and he reminds himself. Like there's a sequence where he's plummeting down towards Earth to get the drop on some bad guys, and he breaks the sound barrier or whatever, or there's a plume of like he breaks the sound barrier or air bubbles or whatever. He's an air barrier, whatever, and he lands in the superhero pose, but he's just a dude, right? Going that fast and then bam, pose on the ground like nothing. His bones should have been destroyed. And then he gets up and he's like, wait for it. And then the sound boom comes down and knocks people over and stuff. I'm like, okay, since when, like, are you a super soldier right now? But he's not. So there was just a lot of, like, you already have to suspend your disbelief, right, going into these things. I get it. But it's like, hey, come on. The whole point of his character was he is just a human. He is just a dude trying to do the right thing with what he's got available to him, leaving to a legacy and all that kind of stuff. But come on, let's not break physics while we're there if you're unable to do that. Anyway, talking about breaking physics, there's a chick in this who's like a Black Widow type character who must be like 30 kilograms. Like just tiny. Like you could just push her over with no issues, right? And here she is, like she's tiny, man. Everybody else just towers over it. And then here she is doing one of those corridor fights, like taking down dudes that are like 100 kilos or whatever, you know, and picking them up and throwing them down and stuff. I'm like, really? Like, how that does not, I don't believe that, you know, I don't believe that. Like, I'm pretty sure anyone can kick the stuffing out of me if they really wanted to, whoever they are, right? If they really put the effort in, yeah, sure, you know, but come on. There's a limit. There's a limit to everything, and that was one. Anyway, look, the rest of the movie happens. The set pieces are cool, and that's pretty much it. You've seen some of it in the trailer. Like, if you've seen the trailer, you've pretty much seen the best things about this movie. You've seen that they acknowledge the Celestial coming out of the planet and what the whole point of that is, and they've even told you in the trailer, it's full of adamantium. That's what we're calling it, right? And those who are in the X-Men lore know what adamantium is. Right, that's Wolverine stuff, that's Weapon X stuff, that's X-Men stuff, right? And then you've got the Red Hulk that they revealed in the movie. I think that would have been so much cooler. I don't know what else that they could coax you to go see this movie without that in there, but I know why they put the Red Hulk in the trailer, because why else would you go see this? Like, if you removed all the Red Hulk stuff out of the trailer, it did not look good. It would not look good. But that had enough in it where I thought, oh, wow, they're going to do this. Like, I thought they were going to go all the way. Like, Red Hulk just, I won't spoil it, but I thought they were going to do more with the Red Hulk. There's not much left in the movie that you haven't seen in the trailers about the Red Hulk. Sorry to say. But for what's there, you do get a bit of a sense of, oh, God, like, this guy's in real trouble at Sam with the Red Hulk. And where I was like, oh, this got interesting. And there's one really awesome shot of a massive thunderclap, like a Hulk clap, and just what it does to the surroundings and the buildings behind them, and just how they composed that shot and kept the continuity in extra shots where you still see the debris falling around. Like, it just looked like a big thing that just happened, and to see everything just like I don't know. When you see it, you'll understand. I just thought that was a cool ass shot. And there are some cool ass shots in here. So look, I think they tried. They really did. But unfortunately, Anthony Mackie, if he had a better movie to work with, this could have been good. He's not the problem in this movie. I'll say that. He did the best he could. I don't know what else he could have done except ask for a better movie to be a part on as his first kind of big solo movie as Captain America, after his Winter Soldier series that's full of DEI, SJW stuff. Thankfully to say that a lot of that's not in this movie, which is obviously part of the reshoots, which is good to see, but it also doesn't leave you wanting anything else. Like, you could have missed this movie and nothing really you wouldn't have missed anything. Right, they've gone through so many movies without acknowledging this Celestial, the Celestial Island, they call it. They've gone so many movies since the Eternals of not acknowledging it. What's one more movie? Maybe you could have just revisited it for a better movie, right? Because essentially, William Hurt's unfortunately passed on, so he's no longer there to be Thunderbolt Ross. So you've got to recast as Harrison Ford, fine. Right, but the big things of this movie could have been shoehorned into another one and been just as impactful, is what I'm trying to say. Nothing here happens that's important. Nothing. Nothing. Where other Marvel movies tend to progress the overarching storyline somewhat, right? And feel free to tell me your opinion on that, but I don't think this moves the story anywhere. Except remembering or reminding people that the Celestial Island is there. They are going to do something about it. and Sam is still Captain America, and he is still struggling with it. And that's it. And hey, you remember some of those early Marvel movies? Hey, we're going to reference a lot of stuff from those. And that's it. So yeah, I'd probably wait until streaming. And I hate to say that because I hate streaming. But wait for that or buy the DVD if you're really considering wanting to see it. I am a sucker and I'm a massive hypocrite. I believe the Captain America through line in the MCU is the strongest. It's my favorite through line of the MCU. And I feel obligated to pick this up on Blu-ray. But oh, wait a sec, I can't do that because Disney don't produce physical media anymore. So I don't know what I'm going to do with this movie. I'll try and import it maybe if there is a option to import. But or hey, heaven forbid that I sail the high seas. Anyway, that's my thoughts on this movie. Unfortunately, I don't have anything better to say about it. Some of the CG is great. Some of the combat scenes are great. Some of the visuals are great. That's all I've got. Anthony Mackie was good. The rest of the movie sucked. So take my opinion with a grain of salt. If you just want something to watch, go see it, enjoy it for yourself. I don't want to take that away from you, but I'm just letting you know my thoughts. Make of that what you will. Cool. Awesome. Sorry about that. All right. So next up, we're going to go and discuss some of the PlayStation State of Play thoughts and what games that stood out to me. Yes. Excellent. Cool. So here we are. So what I'm going to do is while we're discussing this, I'm just going to have some background visuals for those of you watching. Sorry for the audio listeners, but I've got the State of Play playing in the background just for some assistance here. So what's playing here is Shinobi. I'm not going to review the entire thing. It's 40 minutes, so don't freak out. I'm just going to talk about it as it's going in the background. What I thought. So I thought Shinobi was excellent. It looks like a game that I'm going to want to play, and it's old school. I really like that. It looks like a Flash game, not going to lie, but I think they've done it in a way where it's animated well enough to not remain with that initial first impression. It's made by I'm pretty sure it's made by the same group that did the recent Streets of Rage 4, which I really liked that. That was awesome. And look, these old school kind of games, I'm a sucker for them. I dig them a lot. More the merrier, particularly if they're good ones. If they're too hard, I don't have time to punish myself much these days. Well, I do, but I won't get into that. But so Shinobi, yeah, that looked awesome. I'm probably going to pick that up and keep my eye out for that one. And so lately I've been good timing. I want to talk about this. So Sonic Racing, what's it called? Like Switch Worlds or Other Worlds or whatever it's called. Man, that looked awesome. I thought, okay, we just got a Sonic Racing game not too long ago, and it wasn't that great. It looked stunning. It was a great looking game. I just thought it was a bit slow, and the CPU was quite difficult when I was trying to go through the main story mode, if you want to call it that, or arcade, to progress through the story and unlock stuff and whatnot. I couldn't progress. There were times where it was just brutal. Like you had no way of winning. And I know get good and all that kind of stuff, but I thought I was getting quite good up until that point. And, you can only race the same race a number of times before you go, you know what? I don't need to play this anymore. Like you've just made me uninstall this because I'm wasting my time here. And that might sound salty, probably am, but probably does sound that way. But I don't care. It's like, okay, I was enjoying this up until the point, right, where it's like Mario Kart. You can at least win that. It's very balanced. Where the prior Sonic Racing game felt really unbalanced, right? Where Mario Kart 8 was super challenging, but you were able to succeed and progress and win eventually, right? Whereas the last Sonic Racing, Cross Worlds, that's what it is. Sonic Racing just killed it. But this game looks awesome. I'm thrilled that they're bringing in the transforming aspects back into it. And the mid-stage location changes looks awesome, going through rings and stuff like that. Sign me up. And this one that's playing right now, Digimon, Digimon Story Time. Was it? No, not Time Strangler. Was it Time something? Time Stranger. I don't know. But I didn't know this was Digimon at first when the trailer was playing. But there was a certain point I'm like, ooh, that looks like Digimon. And then, yes, it was. But this looks great. This looks like a bigger budget game for Digimon, which I've got some Digimon games on my PS4 and my Xbox and emulated. And they haven't had the biggest budget. The combat system is quite clunky. I know I know these games have their fans. Like Digimon's $1 billion empire, and they keep making games hand over fist. But this one looks like the first time it's actually got some good budget in it. Hopefully it's like this throughout the whole thing, and not just you're showing me the good bits right now. But I'm down for a good Digimon game. I've been looking for a good one, and this looks like you can ride on the back of your Digimon and explore. Time Stranger, Digimon Story Time Stranger. My God. You know, it looks like there's a big world to explore, and I want to get into that. I want to explore Digimon more than what I know about it, besides like Generation 1 show, which was my bag back in the day as a kid. So yeah, I'm probably going to keep my eye on that one. The other one that I'm interested in, which I'm probably going ahead of the video now, but it doesn't matter. There's a game called Soul Aside something. I can't remember the exact title of it. It just came to me just now that I should probably call that one out. Stunning. It looked awesome, man. I don't know much about what that game was trying to tell me, but I can't not say that it looked amazing. And I was thoroughly impressed on what that looked like. Mechanically it looked great. Graphically it looked great. The world looked very interesting. Sign me up. I'm going to keep an eye out for that one. Tides of Annihilation is another one where it just looked epic, right? And I think it's playing on the video now. But, oh man, I was blown away. Like giant creatures, giant golems, giant whatever they are. The combat looked amazing. Graphically it looked incredible. I thought at first it might have been like a Elden Ring type game, but like it had that art style of like just European grandeur across with Japanese sensibilities and Japanese game mechanics in video games. And I was just blown away by it. I thought it looked really, really cool. So yeah, sign me up for that one. I hope it's not a Souls-like. I really do hope it's not another Souls-like. And if it is, I'll be disappointed. But the trailer itself interested me enough that I thought, yeah, cool. I'm going to keep my eyes peeled for that one. The next one was WWE 2K25. So I haven't bought a wrestling game ever, and I'm not a wrestling fan. Like I'm a keen observer. I appreciate it from afar. You know, I acknowledge what that world is, but I've never partaken in it myself. But I've always found the customer creation aspect of those games and the campaigns, if you want to call it that, career modes and stuff, interesting and fascinating. Whereas this one that they've shown in this state of play, 2K25, with the island premise where, you know, you can build your character again, but it's all, it seems a bit grandeur and a bit more, what's the word for it? Ambitious, I'll say, is the word. So yeah, Lost Soul Aside. Yeah, that's what I was talking about earlier. That's the name of the game that I was trying to remember. But yeah, WWE 2K25. The island aspect looked really cool. The costumes, the customizations, you can grow your character on this island and explore it and do side quests and all that kind of stuff. That seems really cool to me, and it reminded me of Street Fighter 6 World Tour mode, right? So if it's something like that, I'm totally down for it. So sign me up. Like I'll get into that. I'll make my own wrestler. I've always wanted to do that in these games and have a bit of fun with it. And yeah, let's just see how good it is. I'll keep my bar low because I know there's been a lot of controversy with those games, and I've not played a wrestling game for so many years that last time I remember playing a wrestling game, the mechanics, like the button input and the controller layout and the way the game works was super confusing to me. I don't know why. Like you put me in front of like Tekken or Dead or Alive or Street Fighter or whatever, right? Like you have this muscle memory or this expectation of what those games play like. But when I've played a wrestling game, I've just got to unlearn all of that and try and figure out what it's trying to tell me to do. Like, how do you grapple? Like, how do you do signature moves? I don't know if they've made it more accessible over the years, but the last time I played it was on Xbox 360 or something. And yeah, I didn't enjoy it. Where I've got a bunch of mates that love that stuff. You know, they buy it every year or every couple of years. So anyway, yeah, really excited for that. Well done. I hope they nail it this time. Hopefully this one launches without any nonsense. It's unfortunate that the Ultimate Edition of the game is $200 on PSN and Xbox Live from what I saw. Like, if you want the Big Daddy edition, it's not called Big Daddy, but if you want the version that's got everything in it, it's like $199. Like, really? Really? Like, if that was the only game you played all year, fair enough. But $200, how the hell? Who the hell has $200 just to play a digital game that it's just cosmetic stuff? Maybe there's a season pass in there. You know, maybe you don't need to unlock any more characters, but it's just egregious. $200. It's insanity. That, like, this game better not be broken at launch. It better not be busted, have any graphical issues. It better be like, it must have the highest fidelity, all this kind of stuff. For $200, it's an absolute joke. The other one, which was at the end of the state of play, so apologies if I've skipped some games that really piqued your interest, but not everything did it for me. But Saros, which is the last game shown, which was done by the developers of Returnal, right? So Returnal, I've found a fascinating game. I haven't played it myself, but I've watched people play it on Twitch, play through the whole game, and the art direction, the atmosphere, the gameplay, what they're able to do with that game, I found very fascinating, to the point where, man, I wish that I could play that. Like, I wish that was my game that I wanted to play. Right, because I know I'm not going to play that. It's just not my game. But that's the weird thing. I found it so fascinating that I watched someone play the whole game, right? And it captured me somehow. And it wasn't typically the story, you know, but that was awesome. But it's just the world and the atmosphere that they built, right? So when they had this Saros trailer start playing, and I was like, oh, what's this? Like, the landscape looked just incredible. I know it was a CG trailer. I don't know if that was in game, probably not, or in engine or whatever. But it was intriguing straight from the top. I found the mood and the atmosphere of what that trailer was trying to convey, like, very interesting. I'm like, this sounds familiar or feels familiar. And there's a shot where it goes close into the main character's eyes, and you see the spiral. Like a hell shooter kind of spiral. I'm like, oh, is this another Returnal? This feels like that game. And then, yeah, lo and behold, it's done by the same developers of Saros, and it's a new game. It's not a sequel. It's a new IP and all this kind of stuff. But it looked awesome. And I think this time I might give it a shot, right? Instead of, if time allows and life allows, I think I might actually try it myself this time whenever it's out. I think it's out next year. I don't think it's a 2025 game. I could be wrong. But yeah, that looked really, really cool to me. So yeah, look, I know I've probably skipped over a whole bunch of stuff, but this wasn't me going to review every game that they showed on the PlayStation State of Play. I thought it was a really good showing. It wasn't exclusives. So highly likelihood that every game, and Xbox has confirmed it. I've seen the post and stuff since, but this was more of a partners showcase, right? And a lot of people got that confused, where they thought, oh wow, all of these are exclusives and stuff, but some of these have already premiered on an Xbox Direct, right? So I'm pretty happy with this, that this was a great showing, not just for PlayStation, but, you know, for everybody else, like PC and Xbox, where they did mention some games are on PS5 and PC, which is good, but most of these games, if not all of them, are coming to Xbox as well. So wherever you play, you're going to be able to play these and pick them up really good showing. That means that there's some actually good games coming out this year, which is great. So I'm looking forward to that. And I must add, I'm additionally happy that I don't think any of these games are live services except for Borderlands 4, right? And correct me if I'm wrong there, if I've missed something, but I'm happy to see, or I'm just my optics of it, that the era of live service and always online multiplayer games and hero shooters and all that stuff might be finally going away. One thing I've been saying for years now is I can't wait for it to die, because it's just killed the industry. Just my opinion. It's killed the industry. And it's going to take, in my thoughts, it's going to take a while for the industry to bounce back from the amount of damage that model of production has done. So many studios lost, skills lost, IPs that could have been awesome but weren't, shuttered projects that they should have probably been something else. Anyway, now I'm going to a totally different topic, but yeah, anyway, cool. That was great. Good showing. Let me know what your favorites were of the show. I'm very interested to see if any of them were like mine. But if you don't agree with some of my options, tell me and let me know why. I'm happy to have that discussion. And look, it just means we're sport for choice. We've got so much stuff coming. It's ridiculous. And let's find time, hopefully, to play it. I'll definitely be picking up and playing that Sonic Racing's game and that Digimon, if I can pick any of them. And I'll try and give Wrestling 2K25 a go, and Shinobi. The other ones I'll just have to pick up on a discount somewhere and give it a go. Anyway, so yeah, I'll wrap that up now, and let's head up and wrap up the show. Yeah, all right, let's do it. Okie dokie. All right, so it's a pretty quick snap chunk cast this week. Last week, as I said at the top of the show, ran well over time, but forgive me, it's been a while. And I had a few things to say, and I just started going on in my thought process. So thanks for just letting me do that. And I'll definitely try and get more concise in future. But I do enjoy just speaking my thoughts wherever that might take me, and just let the thought process flow and just see what happens and where I eventuate to. And hopefully you enjoy that. For those of you who tuned in anyway, I guess you did too, so that was great. Thanks for the viewership and coming back and just remembering I'm still here. So look, it's great being back. I'm happy to have another one under the belt for this year. Stay tuned for the excerpts of this. As I said, I'll cut these up and make them into short form content if you wish to just view them that way, or the long form content will be here for you if you just want to set it on as you're going about your day and doing your work or whatever around the house. But again, thank you very much for your time and making me a part of your day. I appreciate that. I know time is one thing you don't get back, and timeshare is very rare these days. So should you tune into my part of the world week to week, I appreciate it, and thank you for that. And if you're new here, consider subscribing and all that kind of stuff, and following on my socials. And yeah, I'll get stuck into it for a Sunday evening. And I wish you all the best in the week ahead. And keep in touch, and I'll see you back here next week. And until then, until all are one. And may the power protect you. Indeed. Toodaloos.
In the nebula of dreams and lore, Uncle Chunk's got tales galore. With the mighty